Hello, my name is Lauren Vorderkins, and my thesis research is on chronemics and electronic communications, specifically dealing with response times in email, text messaging, and social media posts, and how that can often relate to priority and hierarchy between communicators. Now, I'll talk a little bit about what chronemics is here in just a minute. It's not as complicated as it sounds, I promise, but I wanted to discuss why I chose this topic first. It seemed that the theme of response times in electronic communication, such as email, text, and social media, was a reoccurring topic in conversation, whether it be with relatives, friends, mentors, coworkers, colleagues. It just seemed to keep coming up, and so it appeared to me that it's a phenomenon that's happening, and I wanted to research a little bit more about it so we can understand why we worry about someone not texting us back in a few minutes, or why we worry about the content of our email is the reason why somebody's not emailing us back. So let's talk about chronemics. Think about the Greek word chronos. It means time. And think about emics, meaning an analysis of, or you could think of the suffix ic, which is having to do with. So having to do with an analysis of time or an understanding of time. Chronemics is basically what we perceive and how we value time, and that's often correlated with response times. One of the theories that I've used in my research has been Zimbardo's time perspectives theory, which comes from 1999, his study where he researched students and how they perceive time, whether it's past, present, or future psychological states or temporal frames. And so basically he found that people are past-oriented, present-oriented, or future-oriented. Past-oriented individuals evaluate decisions based on past experiences. So if they did something in the past and it worked, then they're going to do it again. If they did something in the past and they failed, then they're not going to do it again. Then there's present-oriented individuals, and they base decisions on gaining pleasure or avoiding pain in the present moment or at that time. And then future-oriented individuals evaluate decisions based on goals that they have. So these temporal frames or these time perspectives influence our judgments, our decisions, and our actions. And we've also seen this in St. Augustine's Confessions when he talks about that the past concerns memory processes and the present concerns attention and perception processes, and the future concerns processes of anticipation, expectation, forethought, etc. So for chronemics and electronic communications, this could mean that a time perspectives would affect how a person assigns feelings to situations of delayed or no responses. In much of the literature that I have seen on these topics, they appear to mainly deal with the workplace or academics. They're basically chronemics in email that I could find. There was a University of Haifa, it was 2005 study where they took Enron emails and they tried to figure out, what's the average response time for an email. And though that is helpful, it focuses on the workplace and not necessarily between different types of communicators, which is what I want my research to focus on, is whether it's a person who's close to you, a higher rank than you. How do the response times differ when the communicator has a different relationship with you? And then there's lots of information on the blogosphere about what chronemics and electronic communications is, but it's a lot of conjecture. It's basically just that author deciding what they think response times mean. There's no factual understanding of it. So I believe that it's necessary to continue research in this area. Some of the other research was from the University of Texas in Austin, where they looked at emails between students and professors and how professors perceived students based on the emails. So it was more of a study on content than it was on chronemics, and so I feel that that's just another area where we can look at. Now, there was a few students from Illinois that recently went to a conference and had a paper on chronemics in electronic communications called Text Me Back. And I haven't received the paper yet, but it's possible that they have a similar study, though it was done through quantitative data. And the study that I'm doing is going to have mixed methods, or it's going to use an explanatory sequential mixed methods design. And so it will use quantitative and qualitative data to try to explain this phenomenon. So in a way, we will get to generalize and personalize the phenomenon through both quantitative and qualitative data. The population that I want to analyze is college students, and the reason for that being that there's lots of studies out there that show college students are very heavy in technology usage. And to give a little bit more insight on that, researchers Rice and Assay in 2014, they found that university students, which is ages 18 through 24, were one of the largest cohorts of texters aside from teenagers. And they found that 146 of students, 60% of them said that they send and receive 1,000 texts per month. And out of those participants, 20% of them said that they send and receive 5,000 texts per month. So just in texting alone, it's a very high usage. And there are 175 million Facebook users, and 88% of those Facebook users are college-age students. And this is based on data from digiday.com. Similarly, Twitter has 240 million active members as of 2014, and digiday.com said that 45% of the Twitter users were college-age students. So this is a significant population to try and extract data from for this type of researching chronemics and electronic communications. So what I hope to find is a correlation between the response times and how it makes people feel. I'm hoping that it indicates that there's a communicator relationship based on priority and hierarchy that then affects people's self-esteem, whether that be good or bad. I have no idea, which is why I still need to collect the data and analyze it, which is the next stage of the research. And I'll hope to be able to find some real explanations of why people decide not to respond. So let's say it's because they're too busy, or they just forgot, or maybe they are upset and they didn't text someone back or email them back. These are the types of data that I'm hoping to find in the survey and focus groups that I will do. And I hope that with this information, we'll be able to find a better understanding of how chronemics and electronic communications are actually affecting us. And once we're aware of that, we can add a little bit more context to those situations, and maybe instead of jumping to conclusions thinking that someone's mad at us, we can take a step back, realize, hey, maybe they just forgot. Maybe they have a lot going on right now and I'm not priority number one to communicate with right now. And just have a better understanding of that So I think it's an interesting study. I think it's a valuable study, and I'd like to see what happens here. So hope you agree. Thank you so much and have a great day.